We got Tennessee, Georgia coming up this week, and really in a couple days. 2 more sleeps. This is the game of the weekend. You got game days going to be there, Knoxville. This is what it's all about. Like this is, we say college football at its absolute best, and you're getting it. Georgia at Tennessee, very well be like the winner of this game is driver's seat of achieving everything they want to achieve in this year. I mean, there's no East versus West anymore, but Georgia versus Tennessee is about as good as you're going to get as far as like who's going to be the front runner of the East, and I think it's going to live up to the billing. You've seen earlier, if you're watching the lines, Georgia opened up as over a touchdown favorite in this game. And oh my goodness, had the lines corrected. They are now only a 3.5 point favorite in this game. Scares me a little bit. That's more for Kirby to use as ammunition to say how much they doubt Georgia. But at the end of the day, I think people are realizing that all the question marks that Tennessee had going into this year, they're slowly getting answered. And we won't completely have them answered until after this game, I think, in my opinion. But Michael, what are your thoughts initially?
Oh, yeah. I have to completely agree with what John said earlier, that this is the best chance. And you mentioned it in the Heupel era that Tennessee has had to beat Georgia. And, everyone thought in 22, whenever Tennessee had the high flying offense, you're coming off fresh off of a number 1 ranking in the initial college football playoff rankings, that you and I, if I'm not mistaken, both said on the show probably should not have happened. Or no, this is before we actually started doing the show. Yeah, this is before we were actually together. But I know I said it myself. Tennessee should not be number 1. They should not have jumped from, I think they were at like number 3, number 4, all the way up to number 1 during the initial college football playoff rankings. And I wasn't confident that Tennessee would beat Georgia because of the fact that Georgia's defense was elite.
Yeah.
And they proved it in that game. Now, I wasn't a believer in Georgia's offense that year, but they looked pretty good against Tennessee, and they did just enough. And the defense completely shut Tennessee down. This is a different Georgia team. This is a different Tennessee team. I feel much better about this contest. But I'll be honest, Skylar, we're less than 30 minutes away from making our picks. I don't know who I'm going to pick in this contest yet. I really don't.
That's fair. I mean, I know who I'm picking. I mean, I'm a Vol for life. I mean, come on. No, I have some points to give, if we do lose, because, we're going to discuss it a little bit later, but I know I'm in the lead. It's all good.
Okay, here we go.
All right. So here's my thing about Tennessee, Georgia, and precisely, it's more along the Kirby Smart's always had an answer for an offense.
Yeah.
So for me to sit here and say, man, our offense is cooking, we're going to go in there and score 30 points, and Georgia's going to have to keep up. Now, scratch that. If you have a Vol fan that's saying that, they don't know ball. Especially they don't know Georgia ball, because Kirby Smart, no matter how good our offenses have been, they've had an answer for it. Now, if they prove me wrong and they score 40 in this game, my goodness, I am jumping off the walls and I'm going to buy a lotto ticket. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not expecting this to be a firework-heavy game. I mean, John, he commented right here. He said 27-24, a late score to, could go either way. I'm not saying that. But I think he's spot on. Like, the score it's going to be low. I don't see this being, I don't know. I think this is going to be a heavy defensive game. And I think this is where you really see both offenses shake the rust. If it's going to be the first offense that can shake it the fastest, that I think is going to come up on top, because Georgia, we've seen them look lackluster. I'm not going to really punish them for last week. Let's be honest. It was rainy. They got in a weather delay, and it was Austin Peay. And I know them players didn't really feel the buzz, feel the juice. Well, in this game, they're going to feel the freaking juice. Like, they're coming to Knoxville. Like, I'm not worried about Georgia lackluster or whatever. Like, I've seen some of the headlines. That's bullcrap. I'm not feeding into that. Tennessee's going to have to beat Georgia. Georgia's not going to give this game away. Here's what I think people are sleeping on, and I know I'm not. Gunnar Stockton and his run game. Our third down defense and Gunnar Stockton's run game, like extending the plays, 3rd and 7, and he ends up breaking a tackle, maybe it could be a sack, right? This is what I could see happening several times Saturday. we are arm tackling, trying to get a sack. We missed the sack, and then Gunnar Stockton picks up the first down with his legs and extends the drive. I see that happening, and I don't know how we're going to be able to adjust and react to that. And I think that's going to bode a problem that I've not seen a lot of people talk about that, but Gunnar Stockton's an athlete. And that's something that we're going to have to look for. And I think that's where you're going to need Arion Carter and T. Lander and Edwin Spillman to step in as that spy, or really to stay home to make sure that we don't break contain and allow that to happen.
And another thing that I think Tennessee's got to do is they've got to confuse Gunnar Stockton.
100%.
Tim Banks, he's great at sending different pressures, showing different looks in the secondary as well. And that's going to be a key on Saturdays. You've got to confuse Gunnar Stockton because he's a young quarterback. He's a talented quarterback, but he's a young quarterback that he's still new to the college game. So you can confuse him. He's not like, and I'll just throw Joey Aguilar out there just because of the experience he has in college football. It's going to be harder to confuse Joey Aguilar as far as the reads and everything go than it will Gunnar Stockton or even like a Jake Merklinger or somebody like that because of the experience that Aguilar has. So that's exactly what Tennessee's got to do. You got to throw different looks in the secondary as far as coverages. You got to send different blitzes. Everyone keeps talking about, and I love the play, the Arion Carter, deke out against Syracuse, dropping Arion into coverage numerous times during that game. And then all of a sudden on third down and long, he fakes like he's dropping back and then just makes a beeline between the center and the guard untouched for the sack. You're going to have to bring looks like that right there. Bring some safety blitzes, some corner blitzes, something like that to try to get Gunnar Stockton uncomfortable in the backfield.
That's right. So I'm looking now here at Georgia's roster and their lineup, whatnot, but I'm looking at the rushing attack. I don't know if it looks like Nate Frazier and Dwight Phillips are. It looks like Nate Frazier's the RB1. He's got 25 carries for 116 yards. He's only averaging 4.6 a carry. Not bad. He's got 2 touchdowns. But Dwight Phillips is almost averaging 10 yards a carry. But only has 115 yards on the season. And like I said, with the competition they've been playing, I don't know how those are not better numbers.
The Georgia rushing numbers are very lackluster.
I understand they've had some injuries on the offensive line. And oh wow, we got Ben Gregg up in the live chat saying 27-24 Vols, baby. So look, 27-24 is exactly what John said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, everybody's kind of honed in. I think they understand that this is not going to be a high-flying shootout game. I don't think anybody really would think that anyways, but it shouldn't be at least. But rushing the ball, I don't know if it's the running backs. I don't know if it's the offensive line being banged up for Georgia, but definitely a lackluster, and I will use that term for the rushing game. I think Gunnar Stockton's going to need help there. But again, you got Gunnar Stockton, who's rushed 15 times himself for nearly 90 yards. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. And he's also added in 2 rushing touchdowns on the year as well. So, I'm telling you, having a running quarterback has been one of them things that hurt Tennessee in the past, that it's got me scared. I don't think Gunnar's the passer that Georgia's had in the past, but I think he may make up for it with his legs.
Yeah, I think he very well could. He's going to have to, in my opinion, for Georgia to really take it to the next level against Tennessee. But if Tennessee
tonight, I see it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We welcome all.
Make sure that you do leave a like on the video and give us a subscribe. You might not watch another one of our videos, but it does help us out. We're not going to send you out a bunch of notifications or anything like that. But if you give us a subscribe on the YouTube page, it helps us out. And you can just go back to ignoring us the rest of the season if you want to. But appreciate you tuning in tonight, all Dog fans. But yeah, especially if Tennessee is able to shut down Georgia's run game as far as the running backs go. If Gunnar Stockton is not able to get it going or doesn't want to get it going, if he's trying to rely on his arm, then that makes them one-dimensional. And I think that a one-dimensional Georgia team is great news for Tennessee in this contest. Now, I think that Georgia's going to have some success on the ground, but, Tennessee is great and statistically has been great the entire time under Josh Heupel as far as run stop. Yeah. So I'm not too concerned about that, but I think the secondary is going to get a little bit of a test this Saturday.
Yeah, here's a question that I have for you and dog fans. Is the tight end game still there for Georgia? Brock Bowers gone. I'm seeing here in their stats, and it doesn't look like they're really involved in the passing game. You got Oscar Delp. He's gotten 2 catches for 33 yards for the season, and he does not have a touchdown. And then I guess Elise Williams, I don't know how to pronounce his first name, but Williams, tight end. It looks like the backup tight end maybe. He's got 1 catch for 23 yards and a touchdown. So I don't know, but I know in the past Georgia's been very tight end friendly, tight end heavy. I'm afraid that maybe that could hinder their offense moving forward. He said, John said, your 2 seniority backs haven't played for Georgia this year, Josh McGray and Roderick Robinson, excuse me. Also, right side of the line, missing 2 starters. Not excuses, just valid points. Running game is definitely lacking, though. Yeah, I knew y'all's offense took a hit on the offensive line. I did not realize that you had 2, I would say upperclassmen guys out as far as running back game goes. I want to say that one of them's probable or questionable to come back this week. I've seen the initial injury report, and it sounds like y'all are getting some guys back. So he said the potential is there, but no one stepped up. Barber last week was the stud, broke ankle. Talent is there, but I don't know. Dang. So, yeah, George, I will say this, though. Every team, it sounds like already through 2 weeks, kind of an injury bug. LSU, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, you're seeing Alabama even with, that 18-year-old now. Ron Williams, he had a concussion against Florida State. So, huh?
Who?
All right. Yeah. You pulling my card out now. No, but I mean,
right.
seriously, people are getting hurt left and right. And that's another variable that coaches are having to kind of work at as far as keeping guys healthy. I mean, that's definitely a big part of college football. So,
yeah, and I do feel like that Oscar Delp has kind of been a little bit of a disappointment to this point. Because when he first came in, Brock Bowers was still here, and it's like, man, look at this guy that is coming in behind Brock Bowers. That Georgia's not going to fall off at the tight end position. They've got a guy that's coming in with the same type of build as him. Not saying his production is going to be there, but surely we can get something out of him. And so far to this point, he hasn't produced the way that fans have expected him to. So it's been a little bit of a disappointment there. I do think that you will see better production as the season comes along. Just right now, it's not quite there.
No, I completely understand. I think overall, this is the clash of 2 top tier SEC teams. I think you're looking at 2 of the top 5 in the SEC going at it head to head here this week. I'm going to stick to my guns and saying that I think the loser of this game, depending on how they lose, definitely still in the fight to whatever they need to achieve this year. With the expanded playoff, 1 loss doesn't necessarily kill a team's chances of the season. I don't know what to expect as far as who's going to step up defensively, and more so defensively on the line for Tennessee. We've had some injuries, D-line, especially in the middle of that line. Who's going to step up and help take over? Because Georgia's front's going to be physical. Who's going to step up and really be that foundation, that solid, brick of a defensive line interior guy that's going to stand his ground, fight off a double team, whatever he needs to do to stuff that running game. I mean, do you have a guy in mind that you think? Does Jackson Moy come back this week? He's questionable.
Yeah, he's questionable right now. Let's see,
Nate Robinson obviously has been stepping up, but is he really the guy that we need to rely on to be that guy? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's big right now. 2 of Tennessee's bigger name guys in the interior are questionable coming into this game. You got Tyree Weathersby. I know he kind of plays more towards the edge some, but he's questionable. Jackson Moy is questionable right now. You got David Hobbs is out for this contest.
That hurts, man.
So yeah, that hurts a lot. I don't know who that guy is going to be, but I do think that I do think this is the chance for somebody to step up, because we have not seen it so far this year. The defensive line group is a position group coming into this season. And it's like, I'm not worried about them. They're deep, and look at his talent. Granted, some of it is young, but look at what we got on this line. I'm not worried about Rodney Garner's group. And now with the injuries, it's just like, And how deep are we really? And how good are we going to be on this defensive line? And this is going to be the first real test.
I'm calling him out. I need Dominic Bailey to step up. I need to get completely healthy. If he's playing, I need him to step up and be a dog on that interior. On the edge, I need Jordan Ross to step up. I need him to be a dog with I don't know, to help assist Joshua Josephs at Leo, whatever. But I need some of those guys to step up and be a dog. Bryson Eason, again, hurt. I'm not going to say injured, but maybe hurt. I need these guys to get right because our D-line is good when they're all healthy and they're deep and they're rotating. Like I was talking about it in the offseason, that they rotate kind of like Kim Caldwell's basketball team. They just rotating 3 guys, 4 guys at a time every 3 or 4 plays. But no, I need some of these guys to get healthy and be there, because I'm telling you, Georgia's offensive line, albeit banged up a little bit this year, I still think they're going to be hard to handle and hard to deal with. And we need to make sure we assert the physicality. We need to bring the physicality to them. That way, the Neyland effect really is in full effect. Because if Georgia can't block and they can't hear, that's how you're going to get those false starts, because they're going to need to feel like they need to get that step ahead of our defense. And I'm telling you, that's what brings it all together. We need the crowd in it, and then we need our defense to really bring that physicality. And John even, he backs you up in this comment here. He said, that is how you beat Georgia. Make them one-dimensional. Gunner, I didn't know this. Gunner has more passes under 5 yards than any other quarterback in the country. So definitely dunking the ball down, dinking and dunking. I think that may have to do with Kirby. I don't know if this is a real thing. I've never played Division I SEC college football, but a part of me thinks that they're not trying to show too much on the film. I do think, I think Georgia's going to come out firing, passing the ball, because I think it's something that they just haven't seen this year. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Kirby could be, playing games there, but overall, it's still, the fact's a fact. Make Georgia one-dimensional. I think that's everybody's game plan going into a game, but really it's how well are we going to be able to handle man, and then if we do drop to zone, is Georgia going to be able to pick out those soft spots like a lot of teams do find out on Tennessee's defense, which makes it so frustrating. You call it out all the time. The zone defense is terrible. Why do we do it? Well, we do it so that we have numbers in the box for the run game, and if the run's not there, obviously, because the RPO is the exact reason why we do zone. Because if you're doing man and your guy runs a big, deked out post route, well, he just took you completely out of the run play, and you never even realized it. So, I mean, I completely understand why they do zone, but overall, I really looking forward to the matchups. I do think this game is going to be won, as most SEC games are. But up front, can we expose the weak side of the line for Georgia? And conversely, will our guys get healthy on the defensive line to be able to do that? I'm actually uber confident in our offensive line.
So here's one thing that concerns me about our offensive line. Georgia's defensive line, they're very good as far as doing the stunts, doing the pre-snap movement and all that. So even though our offensive line has impressed most of this season, how are some of these inexperienced guys going to react to this pre-snap movement at the last second? Is it going to cause some false starts on our end because of this pre-snap movement? I think a guy like Sam Pendleton and even Wendell Moe, that, they've got experience at that Power 5 level. I think they can handle it well, but have they gone up against teams that, do this pre-snap movement like this? I know Pendleton did against Georgia last year in the playoffs, so he might be better suited for it. But Jackson Moy, he hasn't seen this. Lance Hurd, wasn't he hurt for the Georgia game last year, or maybe limited availability?
Lance Hurd played a lot hurt last year. I don't know if he was completely out of the game, but he played almost the whole season hurt, and I don't think he got enough credit for that.
So, I mean, how much experience does he have against this pre-snap movement like this?
Here's one thing that Georgia's going to be careful of. The pre-snap jump or stunts is one thing. If they flinch, like they think the ball's going to be, height, there's a new rule now that if the refs catches that, that could be a delay of game, or I don't know if it's a false start on the defense now.
I think it'd be called a delay of game, kind of like, mimicking the snap count sort of thing.
Yeah, like a stunt is one thing. That's not what they're trying to crack down. But they're trying to crack down on a defensive player flinching. as if they were expecting the ball to be hiked and it wasn't, which can cause the offensive line to move. I've seen that rule change. I don't know how much they're going to enforce it, but I am curious to see how they handle it. Because I do think it kind of, I don't know if it really affects the game. I'm a big believer that even if somebody jumps off sides, if they get back before the ball snapped, they should have that right to do so. I feel like defense is already at such a disadvantage in today's game that try to let them win in certain scenarios. But overall, I'm curious to see how that works. And like you said, our offensive line's got to keep their composure during that. We can't be false starting. We can't beat ourselves. We can't let penalties and stuff like that get the best of us. We really have to utilize the crowd and minimize the mistakes in this game and protect the ball. Both teams done a great job protecting the ball. Can't have turnovers in this game. Tennessee's had a couple fumbles. Gotta clean that up. I think both instances, or no, one was a RPO where Joey and the running back fumbled it. The other instance was a bad snap. We got to clean that up. And conversely, look, so both quarterbacks for these teams have not been sacked yet. Yeah. That is going to change.
Yeah, it for sure will.
It's going to change. Don't have a strip sack fumble. Like don't allow that unless it's Georgia. Then yes, we want that all day long. But when the boo boos happen, when the ohs happen, protect the ball, take the sack. I mean, a 7-yard loss in this game is so much better than a turnover. So do what you got to do. Take your losses when they come, but capitalize on the other team's mistakes. That's going to be the key to the game.
Yeah. So Tennessee wins this game if.
I think Tennessee wins this game if they win the turnover margin and they don't allow 125 rushing yards. So if it's 125 or less rushing, and the reason why it's at 125 and not 100 is because I do think Gunner's going to have some rushing yards, and I think that's going to kind of spike the running game up a little bit. But if you can force Gunner to be a passer in this game, I don't know if I'm a believer in Gunner as a passer. I'm a believer in Gunner as a playmaker. But how accurate is he in the pocket? Basically make Gunner Peyton Manning. And I hate to make him compare it like that, but Peyton Manning never really was a threat with his legs. But how well is Gunner literally stuck in the pocket? Can we contain him to stay there and make him literally pass the ball down the middle of the field, hit your perfect out routes, ball on time, on target? Can we do that to Gunner? Because I don't think I believe in him in his accuracy that much. So I think Tennessee wins if they hold Georgia less than 125 and rushing and win the turnover margin.
Yeah, so the turnover margin obviously is one thing that we need to look at as a key to victory. You always want to win that margin there.
That's a good point.
I do think that Kevin brings up a good point here. But you
Josh
know what?
Heupel is what, 51-2 or something like that when we rush over 200 yards?
But you know what? I'm gonna take this a step further here, and I won't quite say 200 yards, but I think that your rushing numbers and your passing numbers need to be like it was during that 22 season, to
Just
where
completely
it's
50-50.
It's 50-50.
That's how Tennessee's been this entire year, though. I think even playing the competition they played, they've got. Yards-wise passing, they've got 705 yards passing to 505 yards rushing. Touchdowns, though, 7 rushing touchdowns, 7 passing touchdowns. Let's see, attempts, maybe only 80 attempts passing, 88 attempts running. So, really, really close to being 50-50 right now as it is. And I think that's Tennessee's game plan. Everybody knows Tennessee wants to run the ball, and it's complementary to the pass game. So we got Carrie in the YouTube saying, don't sleep on Gunner's passing ability. Well, I want to find out. That's the thing, is I don't want to lose on the running game. I'd rather lose to Gunner having to pass it on us. And kind of like, and I'm going to throw a bone here to Georgia, and maybe you don't like it, but Carson Beck beat us last year because he threw some dimes. And we got to see him, because that's something that he had not done last year really too well. In fact, he had, I think, 2 games last year. We had 3 interceptions in a game. And so I'm like, yes, let's force Carson Beck to throw the ball. And to his credit, they did. And I look bad, but whatever. That's the way that I feel like we have the chance to beat Georgia, is to make Gunner Stockton kind of pull off that type of performance.
Yeah, you've got to make Gunnar
Yes.
Stockton beat you. You cannot let the other guys around Gunnar Stockton beat you.
Kevin saying it. I mean, I mentioned this earlier, but third down defense, man. And this is where Gunner's legs scare me. But third down defense, and most importantly, third and long down defense, because it's such a gut wrench, like a soul crusher when you get a team to 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, and then they pick it up, and it's like, dang, like you really thought you're about to get off the field there. But yeah, we got to hit Gunner 100%.
Yep, absolutely. As far as defensive side of the ball goes,
Yeah, let's see it.
You've got to keep doing what you've been doing all season long. You've got to, and it's really been Tim Banks and Josh Heupel's play style the entire time is bend, don't break. We've seen that numerous times throughout Josh Heupel's era, and you've had some defenses that have broken. But I think that this defense, because of some of the question marks, especially on the defensive line with the injuries and things, that you can bend, let them get down the field, but don't break. Give up field goals, not touchdowns. And I think our secondary and our linebacker group, they're built for that right there. You're not seeing the big plays for touchdowns that you did back in the 22 season, back in the 21 season, and even early on in the 23 season. You're seeing, 10, 15, maybe 20-yard gains instead of, broken tackle, 40, 50-yard, 60-yard touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to see.
No, I completely agree. So are we going to make our pick now, or are we going to wait for the pick segment?
I'm going to wait for the pick segment because I'm still trying to decide.
All right.
I'm back and forth on this.
I'm nervous. I do think it's going to be low scoring, but I'm just really nervous about Gunner's legs, man. And that's not even me sleeping on him as a passer. It's just more of like if he ends up being that all-around guy where he's making the throws, he's making the reads, and on a broken play, he can pick up a first down with his leg. Like that is, I mean, that's scaring me to death. And then I don't think anybody's talking about that enough. And I think he has that type of game to him. And I think Joey does too, but I don't know. I just Joey's on our team, so I'm not as worried about it.
Yeah, so we've done what does Tennessee wins this game if. I know we're not experts on Georgia or anything, but Georgia wins this game if.
I'm going to keep it simple. If Gunner's that guy. If he ends up having that game. I mean, it literally happened last year with Carson Beck where he was that guy. Making the throws, being a baller. If Gunner ends up being that guy and just really hard to bring down, hitting his throws as well to where we can't just play man. I don't know. I feel like that's how Georgia wins. I think defensively on both sides of the ball, they're going to be good. But if Gunner's making plays, it's going to be hard to beat Georgia. It's going to be hard to beat Georgia regardless. But
yeah, so I do think that you hit it there that Gunnar Stockton has got to be that guy. He's got to make the plays. He's got to when the plays are available to him, when the passes are there, he's got to put it in the correct spot, and then his receivers have got to make sure that they make those plays.
Yeah.
As far as the defensive side of the ball goes for Georgia, the way that you beat Tennessee is you've got to shut down the run game, and you've got to make Joey Aguilar go out there and beat you with his arm.
That's right.
And here's what I will say. Even though he is unproven, I think that Joey can go out there and he can win you a game where, Nico could not do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Carrie brings up a good point on YouTube. By the way, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Said might just come down to a special teams play. Nobody's talking about that. The reason why I'm not talking about that is I disagree. I mean, yes, of course, special teams is very important, but I think both of these teams are smart enough to not allow that to happen. Like you're going to see kickoffs be touchbacks. You're going to see punts hang in the air or aimed out of bounds. Like I just don't feel like these teams are going to allow the returners to make a splash play like that unless it comes down to the end of and you're trying to kill time or something. So you kick it inbounds and then you get punished that way. I don't know, but I just think these teams are smart enough and they've got talented and experienced enough punters and kickers to know, don't even give them a chance. Like it's better to kick it only 50 yards and out of bounds rather than kick it 57 yards and they have a chance to return it. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. It ain't worth $1. I get that. But
see, I'm actually going to go a different direction than what you did with the special teams. when you get the chance to kick field goals, you got to make them because all right,
100%.
how
No,
many
yeah.
how many
Field goals
scores
is a different story, and that's 100%
how many
right.
scores have we seen so far that have been 3 points? We got a 27-24 from John earlier. We had Kevin say 27-24 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I've got a score prediction that's very field goal heavy. So like I completely get. And Kevin even said
I'm
like,
there
hey,
with
this
you.
is how we won the A&M game, is you pinned them back deep with a punt. You went 3 and out, and then punted it to D. Williams, where he took it almost to the house. No, he did take it to the house, and won the game on that. So yes, I completely hear you guys. I get that. I don't know. Like it's definitely possible. I just think these teams are smart enough to not allow that to happen.
Yeah, as far as the punts and everything goes, I mean, obviously field position helps win ball games. So I mean, I'm with you on that. But I've also got a score prediction, and this goes for whether Georgia wins or Tennessee wins. I think that the final score of this game, I think that over under is almost 100% on. I think that the spread is almost 100% on as far as what that point spread is going to be. Now, whether or not Georgia wins or Tennessee wins is a different story. I've got the final score as 30-27, which is why I think the special teams is going to be huge because that right there, that's a heavy field goal contest for both teams.
I think it's too much points.
You're probably saying what, 20-17?
A little bit more than that.
23-20?
Close. You're all the way around it. My score prediction is 23-17.
23-17.
But
So
I'll tell you
you've got a little bit bigger spread then.
Bigger spread between the teams, but it's just a touchdown. It's literally 6 points. Like
Yeah.
But no, like I said, it's field goal heavy. I think field goals, field position is going to be very key in this game. So, now, you got anything else before we get into our pick segment, which I know everybody wants to see, and I'm kind of jacked because I had a great week last week. So, I don't know, man. You got anything else on this game?
No, it's just a huge game. I
do want Georgia fans to know that Dylan Sampson is no longer a part of this offense, but we got some good running backs.
Yeah, we've got.
I can stand firm on that. Now, if we get shut down, we get shut down. Georgia's got a good defense, but don't think that we're not going to have a running game just because SEC Player of the Year is no longer with us.
Now, here's what I will say, and Georgia fans, you might get mad about this. I've got a buddy that's a Georgia fan that says this Georgia defense is going to rival that 22 defense, and I cannot disagree more. I think that Georgia's still got a really good defense. I do. That's one of Kirby Smart's calling cards each and every year is they've got a good defense. But this defense is nowhere near that 22 defense. That defense was one of the best defenses I've ever seen, and they proved it against one of the best Tennessee offenses of all time. It's not going to be that good this year.